speaking of acknowledging a schedule, Dan Campbell's at the podium today. Dan Campbell talked about the same schedule that we've been talking about. I told you I was worried a little bit in the beginning of the season because of the offensive line and the defensive line that they were going to be going against. Look, you got Chris Jones and the Chiefs. You have the Baltimore Ravens. You got the Bears and their defensive line. Rashawn Gary, shout out to Michigan, and the Green Bay Packers. You know what the Bucs defensive line is. Dan Campbell may seem to be different than I am. Here he is.
I'm indifferent to it. I mean, listen, we put them where you want them. Green Bay here, Chicago here, Minnesota here, Baltimore here, Kansas City here, the Rams here. We got to play them all. And we got to be ready to play every one of them 1 week at a time. So I'm excited for the way it's laid out.
Anson, I think the best thing that he said in that is towards the end of the speech is he said, and be ready to play them 1 week at a time. I think it's easy for fans, analysts, myself. It's easy for us to look at the longevity, the big picture, 6, 7, 8 games. It's one game at a time, and that's what it seems that Dan Campbell's paying attention to.
Well, as analysts, we go through and, okay, is this a loss? Is this a win? And then we count them up in the end. They're not doing that. They're not doing that. And that's been his mantra since he got here, one game at a time. And I just think that Lions fans have gotten a little soft this offseason. Like everyone was so all in after Week 18, and we have a better team right now than when we did going into 18. I've said this many damn times.
Explain that, because I think the other day when I was here, Maz didn't necessarily give you a time to explain what you meant by this team is currently better than it was last year. Explain that.
And I'm not comparing, thank you for prompting that, because I'm not comparing to Week 1 2024 Lions to Week 1 2025 Lions. Although I can't say that one is better or worse. In fact, I would still say that this team is better. I know that we're down 2 offensive linemen, but what you took into the playoffs, Lions fans, was 22 less defenders, starters, or contributors than you should have had or that you started the year off with. So the team on paper to start Week 1, it's the best Lions team that we've ever had, in my opinion. And it's so much better than the team that entered the playoffs out of that Week 18 win over the Vikings. But it comes down to Dan. Dan doesn't care about Week 2, Week 7, Week 17. He's going to have this team focused on Week 1. And there's not one team that we can't beat in the NFL. So stop focusing on that schedule, guys. We earned that schedule. That's what we've always wanted. We're going to be on at night. We're going to be on Mondays. We're going to be getting flexed. This is what we wanted. Careful what you wish for, but this team emotionally and psychologically is ready for all 17 games on the schedule, no matter how hard they might look right now.
Pete, I agree with part of that. I agree with the part that this is what you asked for, this is what you want. Look, when you set your team up, when you ask to win games, when you ask to win divisions, when you ask to be the number 1 team in the conference, it comes at a price. That means you have to play a number 1 schedule. But the Lions are a damn good team. They're a team that's ready for that. But do you agree with Anson that this team is mentally ready for that, considering where they are now? Departure, retirement, new players.
Yeah, I think they are, because that's the job of Dan Campbell. And Dan Campbell was hired here to change the not only the history of this team or where the team was supposed to be going, but he was hired to change the mentality of not just the players but the fan base as well, and he has done that. And the thing is that, see, and Sheila agrees, and the thing that we're going to have to really understand with what Anson means is, because Anson, I'm going to have some fun with you here. But we just lost Frank Ragnow, Anson. How are we going to be any better? I'm just, playing,
Sure.
Advocate here. So I'm going to tell you why, and because I agree with what you're saying there. They're better because Jahmyr Gibbs is going into year 3. They're better because Amon-Ra is going into year 4. They're better because Jared Goff is going into, year 8? My whole point is the experience. The more you play, the more experience you get. And Braylon, you know by playing in the NFL that after that rookie season, once you learn all those lessons that you think that you thought that you learned or you thought that you knew coming out of college, you get those hard educations. And that is why this team is ready for the upcoming season, is they've had those disappointments and they have the right coach in place to lead the right mentality and to keep the headset correct.
You're absolutely right. You know, you go through that rookie year and that off season, and you get to that year 2, you start to see the change, you start to see the growth, and I hope that's what we see from the Lions this year, Ricky.
And you got to think about last season, they got punched in the face 23-plus times by losing key players. Yeah. Nothing can phase them. Think about it. Ragnar is out. He's like, at least we got time to prepare. At least we still got, all the other linemen. Like, I can imagine how he feels when he heard that. He's like, I mean, come on now. What else can happen? I'm not going to lose 20-plus players again? Probably not. So he's probably like, yeah, whatever happens, tornado, snowstorm, Ragnar loses, he doesn't care. We going to win.
That's right. That's right.
You know what? I appreciate that. The name that keeps coming up is Ragnar, and it should. Ragnar dropped the bomb on the city of Detroit and the Lions. He is retiring. And I think everybody immediately, because of how great he's been as a player, how great he's been as a captain, a leader, a pillar. He's been the number one center when Jason Kelce retired. Even when Jason Kelce was playing, he still was the number one center in certain protections. So you get excited. I want him back. It's about the contract disputes. You know what? Sometimes you don't think about what the person and what they have sacrificed for the team and for the sport and for themselves. Here's Dan Campbell on his thoughts and feels about Frank Ragnow.
I got all the respect for Frank Ragnow, and man, I love him to death. And the other thing is, quite frankly, some of this stuff about contract talk, that's disrespectful. That's not what this was ever about. So, anyway, love you, Frank.
I appreciate that Dan Campbell in that moment I appreciate that he had that conversation. Basically, he's pissed. You know how when you're not something and you know people know that you're not that, when someone accuses you of that, it may knock you off your square a little bit. Sure. It may make you a little bit more mad than you typically are. I think that's what's happened with Dan Campbell. The Lions will do everything right by their players, by their guys, by the ones that they know are going to win the championship, all that stuff. For us as fans to say the money wasn't right, and that wasn't said by Woodward Sports. Just letting you know that. No doubt. That wasn't said by Woodward Sports. It wasn't said by this show or any other show that we have. But when people say that, now you see the other side of Dan. For people to say that, it's just disrespectful. It's all about what Frank no longer can go through.
Am I wrong? Am I the only one that's picking up a little annoyance on the behalf of both Brad and Dan this offseason?
You're not.
We saw Brad kind of lash out a little bit at the just insistence that we had to draft an edge in the first round or trade for one, and now you're kind of seeing it from Dan as well. We're fickle sports fans here in Detroit. We haven't had a winner in so damn long for the Lions and other teams as well that it's hard right now for Lions fans to just sit back and look what we have.
It's uncomfortable.
Explain that.
I feel like everyone's uncomfortable right now, even us. We don't really we don't really know how to react. I feel like you said, Dan and Brad, they're lashing out. They're getting a different media attention. I feel like it's probably just uncomfortable more than
shouldn't they be exalted in this city right now?
Yeah.
Shouldn't they be revered in this city right now?
I feel like they are.
I mean, the most cultureless franchise for my entire lifetime in Detroit has the strongest culture out of any sports franchise in Detroit right now. We are all talking and debating on whether this team can win a Super Bowl for 3 straight years now.
Yep, amazing.
When was the last time we could do that for one? Calm down, guys. Let's get to week 1. Let's see what happens in Green Bay. Let's see what happens playoffs, because I promise you they're going to be there, guys.
It's true, but it's the other side, and I understand the frustration of Brad Holmes. They're like, look, man, look at what I've done as a GM.
Yeah.
I've come in here, I've drafted players that you didn't think I was going to draft, or that you didn't think we should draft, and look what it's turned into. Dan Campbell saying, look what I've done, look what we've done as a coaching staff. So I get all that, but you know what comes in sports? Sports is day to day. It's game to game. It's year to year. And that just is what it is. So their frustration is the fan base's frustration. The fan base is frustrated with the injuries last year. Ain't nothing you can do about the injuries, but the fan base is frustrated with those. You're frustrated that you had the home field advantage, 15-2, and you got beat by the Commanders. Regardless of what the reason was, you got beat by the Commanders. So I think people are looking just in that space, and that happens. Sure. It comes with the territory. You don't think people are talking, what about the Kansas City Chiefs?
Right.
Chiefs fans, how many Super Bowls had they won in the last 6 years?
Right. They had a
and
slump.
even Chiefs fans like, this isn't acceptable. I'm just saying, it comes with every fan base. The Eagles, they beat the Patriots, and then they disappeared. And it was like, what are we going to do? They go to the Super Bowl. We should get rid of our quarterback.
Right.
They were trying to get rid of their quarterback after almost winning the Super Bowl. They tried to get rid of their quarterback, and they realized he had a knee injury, had to bring in a different offensive coordinator, switch some things up, and then they won the Super Bowl. Like, sometimes it just comes with the territory.
That's a good point.
And honestly, it seems like every year that the Chiefs do win it, around week 9, week 10, just like when Tom Brady used to win it. Oh, they're cooked.
Yeah.
I think their time's passed, and the next thing you know, they're winning. Now, I did see a question from Randall Smalls in here. Can I ask this question? He says, could Ragnow come back after a half season? And then Phil followed it up. Give the man at least a year to heal, then we will see. I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. I think that we could see this guy in a role with the team, though, like we talked about earlier in the week, as an assistant coach or a lineman's coach, something like that.
The only way you will see Frank Ragnow this season is if, knock on wood, do whatever you want. If somehow a catastrophe, a straight-up catastrophe befell the Detroit Lions and they were still in a position, primed and poised for the playoffs, for the number 1 spot, for the number 1 seed, for a chance at the Super Bowl, Frank's not letting that situation slide. That would be in my estimation now.
I like that.
That'd be the only time you see him. Something happens where it's like, yo, look, Frank, we need you. You calling Batman, and he comes and helps you. That would be the only thing that I could see Frank Ragnow picking up the phone for, because right now he's content. Hey,
Take my toe. He can take my toe, man.
he can take your toe.
He can take your
Come
toe.
on, man. You can take my toe, bro. I don't need it.
Yeah.
Where's Super Toe? Give him the Super Toe.
Give him
Where's
the Super
Either
toe.
one, he can pick. I'll let him pick,
need
bro.
super-
It's
That gives
Ragnow.
new meaning to black from the waist down, eh?
Well, you know what? Speaking of toes, you know we have to have good toes in the NFL? It's DBs. DBs have to have great
That's right.
feet, great toes.
Really?
You gotta be
Man,
I'm like,
on-
don't tell me you're a foot guy,
Really?
Brady.
No. My former coach was.
Great
Rex
transition,
Ryan. He
bro.
was. I love Rex. He's a foot guy.
Maybe
not
we
me.
should ask the doc later on.
100%. But you got to be on your toes. And this is what we hope in this Rakestraw second-round draft pick last year. We hope that he can find his niche here with the Detroit Lions. Here's Amik Robinson, Nickelback, talking about just that.
Player.
I see the game is slowing down for him, man. It's slowing down for him, you know. And I know when he come back, he's going to get even better, you know. So I expect Ennis to take a huge jump this year. And I truly mean that.
Now, the game slowing down for him. This is what Pete was talking about a little bit earlier. The game slows down in year 2. You start to see things different. You start to understand how to watch film. You start to be able to process the information that these coaches are giving you. The Lions depth chart, as it relates to the secondary position, Terry Arnold's your starter. DJ Reed is your number 2, flip-flop. They're 2-1 or 1-2. We haven't figured that out yet. Amik Robinson is your nickelback. You saw what he was capable of against Justin Jefferson. So he's our nickelback. Then what? Then where the Lions as it relates to? Is it Avonte Maddox? Is it Ennis Rakestraw? Is it insert player here? Anson, if Ennis Rakestraw can be the player that Brad Holmes saw, the guy that had the scholarship to Nick Saban in Alabama, but chose to forge his own path by going to Missouri. If that guy can show up for the Lions in secondary, what does that mean?
I mean, it means that we have a top 5 secondary, which we probably already have, to be quite honest with you. We've got the 1A and 1A safety tandem in the league.
And then you got 1A and 1A in terms of holding penalties and pass interference penalties. So it is a negation.
I love that. I love a former receiver going to bring that one up. And you're absolutely right.
They hold on every play, man. What do you want me to do?
The money that opened up from Frank Ragnow, go sign Kendall Fuller. Go sign Kendall Fuller. I've been asking for him for about 3 months now. Want to catch up with the Super Chat real quick. Dante 151. Guys, not only will he say, but he will pay $5 to say this once in a Super Chat. Frank Ragnow is going to stay retired. He wants to be there for his daughter and wife. So
man.
stop it.
They can have a toe too.
What's that?
They can have a toe too. I don't need a toe.
Well, Jason Kenyon could use one of your toes. He's got another Super Chat. I have a reconstructed foot. Can't feel half of it. Frank can have my toe as well. He won't miss it, he says.
Wow.
Jason Kenyon, a little bit further back on the OKC conversation. Our OKC already adjusted by changing lineup before game time, went small and fast first. It's going to get faster and harder for Indy to keep up OKC in 5. And then Hassan Hadar from Canada. Hello, guys. Just moved from Lebanon to Canada after our immigration papers got processed. My kids and myself are so happy we can watch the Lions game without waking up at 3 in the morning. Let's go, Lions. I love that. Welcome from the land of the Cedars to our neighbor to the north. That's fantastic. I would love for you to chat in here and let us know what's going on with the fires where you're at. If you've got a lot of smoke, if your eyes are watering, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, please do, man. You got friends and family over here at Woodward Sports, especially this particular show, man. We got your back. We appreciate you. Yeah. What do you want to do? You want to reset a little bit?
Yeah, let's do a little break and
get a little messages from Ben Johnson.
Remind them though what they got. They got about 55 minutes. You got until 3:50 to get in here.
There's some Craniacs, Tyrese Halliburton rookie card, 1995 Flirt Metal. You got the Allen Houston.